If you have been wanting to connect Spring Boot with MongoDB and perform real CRUD operations, saving, updating, and deleting data, this video will walk you through every step. We'll start from creating a new Spring Boot project, add all the right dependencies, connect it to MongoDB, and then build a full REST API that actually works. So let's get started. Now let's start by creating a new project. Go to start.spring.io. From the project, select Maven and language is Java. For the Spring Boot version, always try to select the latest stable release. At the time of this recording, the latest Spring Boot version is 3.5.6. So I'm going to select that. Now provide the project metadata. The group name is simply my domain name in reverse order, and it's com.learn with iftekhar, and provide this an artifact. Let's say the artifact name is Spring Mongo Repository Spring Mongo Repository Demo, and for the packaging choose jar, and for Java version I am going to use Java version 21. Now let's add the dependencies. The first dependency we need, that is Spring Web. Then we need Spring Data Mongo. So search for Mongo. Here we have this couple of options. We need this one, Spring Data MongoDB. Select that. And finally, let's add another dependency for validation so that we can validate our REST request. That's all the dependency that we need right now. Click on this generate button to generate and download the project. So our project is downloaded. Go ahead and open it in your favorite IDE. Here I have opened the project in my IDE. I am using IntelliJ IDEA Ultimate Edition. On the left sidebar, you can see the files and folders of the project. Let me show you the pom.xml file. Here in this pom.xml file, we have this metadata we have defined while creating this project. Then we scroll down a little bit. Here, this is the Java version we have chosen. And finally, we have this block that holds all the dependency of our project. This one is for Spring Data MongoDB, and this is for Spring Data Validation. And here we have another dependency that we have added is for Spring Web. And finally, Spring has automatically added this dependency for testing purpose. And later we have this portion for necessary plugins. Okay, now let's close this pom.xml file. It's time to create our model. Many developer likes to call it as domain. So whatever you say is the same thing. Inside your src, main, Java. Here we have this root package. Inside this root package, I'm going to create a new package. This package will hold all the models. Let's name it model. And inside this model, create a new Java class, and I'll name it product. Now, this product will have couple of properties. I'll go with minimum to make this whole tutorial easy to understand. So I think only 4 fields is enough for this tutorial. That is ID of the product, name, price, and a short description. Okay. So the first field is ID. It will be private field, and data type will be string and ID. Then we need to have the name of the product. So private, then string and product. Let's give it a price. It is private variable, and the data type will be big decimal, and the name is price. And finally, short description of the product. So private, it will be string, and name, description. Now this is just a plain Java class, and here nothing is special. To make this product with a document in the MongoDB, we need another special annotation. document. With that, this product, this will be mapped with collection in the MongoDB. And the name of this collection will be the same as the name of the class. But here, I would like to exclusively set the name of the collection. We can set the name using collection and say the name is products. Now, in this document, we need a unique identifier. So by default, if there is any field named ID, Spring Data MongoDB will automatically treat this as the unique identifier of that document. Now, if you want to auto-generate this ID field, you need to choose the data type of this ID field as string or big integer or object ID. And here we can also add a special annotation ID to mark this field as unique identifier. And let's add some validation rule for this product name. So maybe not blank with a message product. This should be product name. So let's rename this field to name. So here the message is product name is required. And for the price, it also should not null, and give it a message price is required. For the description, it's nullable, so I'm not going to give it any other validation rule. So this is the product, and now it's time to configure our Spring Boot application to connect with the MongoDB. For that, open the sidebar. Inside this src main, then we have this resource directory. Inside this resources directory, we have this file named application.properties. In this file, we can provide the configuration to connect with the MongoDB. Let's do it. So my Mongo server installed my local machine with default port 27017, and I have not set any username and password. So let's try to connect with that. For that, the first property, this is spring.data.mongodb.host. Here, as I've mentioned, I have installed this on my local machine. So it is localhost. And if your MongoDB is running in separate live server, then here you need to provide your server information. Now we need to provide the port. We can give it using spring.data.mongodb.port, and it's running on my default port, that is 27017. And now let's provide the database name. It is spring.data.mongodb.database, and let's say the name of the database is products demo. And that's all for our configurations. Now, if we have username and password set, then you may need to provide the username like this, spring.data.mongodb username. Here provide the username. And for the password, the property is spring.data.mongodb.password. And here you need to provide your password. So as I have not set this username and password in my locally running Mongo server, so I am removing this. With that, now let's start our project. So the project is started on port 8080, and it seems it has connected successfully with the Mongo server. Here you are seeing the address of the Mongo server, that is localhost 27017. Okay, now let's close the console and back to this product class. Here we need to generate constructor, setter and getters for this product class. For generating, you can right click, then generate, or you can use this shortcut Command+N in my Mac, then select constructor and select all the field except this ID, because this ID will be generated automatically. Now click this OK. So our constructor is generated. Now it's time to generate the setter and getter. This time for generating, I'll use the shortcut Command+N, then select getter and setter. Select all the fields and click OK. So that's all for this product class. And here we also need another noargs constructor. So generate, then constructor, and click this button, select none. Okay, that's all for our product class. Now let's create our repository. Inside our base package, creating a new package, name it repository. And here inside this repository package, I'll create an interface. So new Java class, make sure to select this interface and name this product repository. Now this repository interface, here this product repository will extend from CRUD repository, and this CRUD repository is a generic interface, and we need to provide the entity for which we have created this repository, that is product, and the data type of the primary key, which is in our case string. So that's all. And just by extending this CRUD repository, we are now fully ready to do the CRUD operations in the database. Let me show you. If we check the source of this CRUD repository, let me download the sources. You see, this extends from this repository, and inside this CRUD repository interface, there are methods. There are methods for save and save all, find all. So there are a couple of useful methods that is necessary for doing the CRUD operations. And Spring Data JPA is intelligent enough to generate the necessary queries for our Mongo operations based on this interface. Now it's time to create our service. We'll inject this product repository in that service class, and the service will use this product repository to do the CRUD operations. So open the sidebar inside my base package. Again, I am creating a new package. Name this service. Inside this service package, create a new Java class and name this product service. Closing the sidebar. Here, we need to annotate this with service annotation. We'll inject our product repository. Let's define a private field. Final product repository. Name this product repository. Now, we'll use constructor to inject this product repository. So generate, then constructor, select our product repository and click OK. Now let's create the necessary method to do the CRUD operations. First one will be for the save operations. It will be public method. The return type will be product, and let's name it save. It accepts product object, and the return statement call product repository dot save, and here provide the product that we have received as the argument. Now our next operation will be get all the products from the database. It will be public method, and the return type will be list of product, and let's say name it find all, and it returns product repository dot find all. Let's cast this expression with this list of product, and then we'll get the product by ID. So it will be public method, and it returns product, and name this find by ID, and it accepts string ID. And in the return statement, we'll use product repository dot find by ID and provide our ID. And here, if this product is not exist, then it will return null. Now let's try to delete the data from the database. So it will be public method returns void and name this delete by ID, and it accepts string ID. Here first I will check if the product with the ID exists in the database. So if find by ID, provide the ID. If this is not null, then we will do the delete operations. Product repository dot delete by ID and pass the ID here. So that's all the method that we need in our product service. Now it's time to create our controller. Inside our root package, create a new package, name this controller. Inside this controller package, create a new Java class, name this product controller. Now here we need to mark this with REST controller and we'll inject our product service here. Private final product service and name this product service. And we need constructor to inject this product service. So generate, then constructor, select our product service and click OK. Now let's make the request. Here, after this REST controller, here I'm going to provide a request mapping and it will be API, then products. Now in this product controller, first we'll save the product. It will be post mapping, public method. It returns response entity of type product. Then give this a name, save product. To accept the product data as JSON object, here we need an annotation, request body, and the type is product and name it product. And here inside this method, call our product service dot save and pass our product as argument and store the returned product data to the saved product variable. And finally return response entity dot OK and in the body pass the saved product. Next we'll get the product by ID. It will be get mapping, and here in the parameter of this get mapping we need to provide the path variable ID. This ID between this curly bracket is our path variable, and this path variable will be replaced by the value received in the URL. It will be public method and return type is response entity of type product and name this get product by ID. It accepts path variable and it is type string and name is ID. Make sure this parameter needs to match with the name of the path variable you provided in our get mapping. Here call product service dot find by ID and provide our ID, and we'll save the returned product in the product variable. And finally return response entity dot OK and provide the product. And now let's get all the product. It also get mapping, public method, return response entity of type product, name is get all product. And actually let's move this method before our this get product by ID method. Okay, so here we will call product service dot find all and save this to the list of product variable. Name this product list and return response entity dot OK and provide the product list. Here it's showing error. That is because here we have mentioned that the return type will be response entity of type product, but here we are returning list of product. So we need to update this method signature and this will response list of products. With that, our error is gone. So far, we have this method for saving the product, getting all the products, and get the products by ID. Now let's write the method to update the product. It will be get mapping, not get mapping. For updating, it will be put mapping. And it accepts path variable ID, public, response entity, return product, name this update product, and it accepts path variable, type string, ID, and we also need to accept request body of type product. And here first we'll get the product from database using ID. So a product variable, let's say the name is product from DB, and this equals product service dot find by ID and provide our ID. Now we'll check if the product from DB is null. If null, then we will response not found. Otherwise, we will update the product. Let's fix this typo. If statement, if product from DB is equals null, in that case, we'll return response entity dot not found and build. And if the product is found, then we will update product using product service dot save, and here pass our product and save this in a variable named saved product. And finally, we return response entity dot OK with the saved product. And our last method for deleting the product, it will be delete mapping with path variable ID and public method, and return, it will just return a string and the name is delete product by ID. It accepts path variable of type string ID, and here we'll call product service dot delete by ID and pass the ID. And finally, return response entity dot OK with message product deleted successfully. So that's all the method for our CRUD operations. Now let's start the project and check if everything works. But before starting, let's check the Mongo database. For checking, I'm going to use a GUI tool. You can use any GUI tool you are comfortable with. My IntelliJ IDEA Ultimate Edition comes with this special database tool. Using this tool, I can use my IDE as my database GUI tool. Here in this database tool, click on this plus icon to add new database, then data source. Select this MongoDB. Here, my MongoDB is running on my local host and this is running on my default port. I have not set any username or password, so the authentication will be no auth. Now let's test the connection. So it is succeeded. We are able to connect with the database. Now let's click OK. You cannot see this OK here because this is outside of my recording area. Here in this toolbar, we have now this local host. Here, let's see the available database. Click here. At this point, as I have just freshly installed my MongoDB, so I have only these 3 databases. And we do not have the database that we have defined here. This products demo database is not yet created. And this will be automatically created when we first add our new product. Okay, now let's start the project. Click here. So our project is started. And again, in the database tool, we do not have products demo. Now for testing, I'm going to use Postman. Let's open it. First, we'll save the product in the database. Opening a new tab for the new request. For saving, it will be post request and the URL will localhost. My application is running on port 8080. And then in the request mapping, we have added the endpoint, API, then products. Let's verify this. Here we have our products controller. And here is our request mapping, API /products. Now navigate to this body tab, select raw and select JSON from this drop down. Here provide the product as JSON. First we'll provide the name of the product. Let's say it is iPhone 17 and price $7.99 and description. Let's say it's white and 256 GB of storage. Now if we send this request and the response, we have this product and this ID is automatically generated, and here is the name and other data that we have provided. Let's check in the database what we get. In the ID, here we have our database tool, and refresh this connection by clicking this refresh icon and see. Now we have this products demo database is created. Select this, and here we are seeing this product demo in our connection. Let's expand this. We have only one collection, and that is product. And if we check the data, here the data is saved. This is our description, name of the product and price. Now let's view this as JSON format. So click on this icon and choose text. Here is the JSON object, and we have this collection. This is the ID of our product. Then we have this description, name and price. Now let's add another product. Let's say this time the name of the product is Samsung S25 Ultra, and set the price is 1419.99, and then provide a description. Say it is white and 512 gigs of storage, and send the request. So our new product is added. Here is the newly generated ID and the product. In the database, let's refresh this data by clicking this refresh icon. So we have these two data. This one is for iPhone 17 and this one is Samsung S25 Ultra. Now here I have made a mistake that the price of this iPhone 17 is 7.99, and that's actually wrong. So we need to update this. Let's do this now. Actually, before updating this data, let's get all the product. Okay. So in the Postman, open a new tab. Here for getting all the product, it was get request. The URL is localhost 8080, then API, then products. And this obviously get request and send the request. Here in the response, we have all the data we have saved. Now let's try to get the data of this iPhone with the ID. Let's copy the ID and open a new tab. For getting the product by ID, URL is localhost, then port 8080, API, /products, then /ID. And this is our path variable. And this ID of the product will be treated as path variable that we have defined in our controller. Now, if we send this request, here we're getting this response. Here is our iPhone and here is the ID. Now, we need to update our iPhone. Here we made a mistake in this price. So let's copy this URL, open a new tab. For updating, it will be put request, paste it here, then navigate to body, select raw, and the data type is JSON. And here as a request body, we need to provide the information of the product that we want to update. Let's back to previous tab where we are getting the product by ID. And this is the information of our iPhone. Let's copy this JSON response and navigate to our put request. Paste it here in this body of the request. Here in the body, we do not need to provide this ID. Let's update the price. It is $7.99. Okay. Now send the request. So the response code is 200. That means this product is saved successfully. And here in the response, we have this updated data. And let's back to our previous tab. If we check this data using this ID, let's send a request. It's not showing. That means it's not saved. Okay, let's check. Let's check the database. Refresh this. Here, okay, we have sent put request to update this data, but actually instead of updating, it actually added a new product. That's not the case. That's what we don't want. Let's fix this thing. Back to the product controller. Here we have this put mapping and we are saving the data using this statement. But before saving this, we need to set the product ID. So it will be product dot set ID, and this ID will be product from DB dot get ID. And with this statement, the problem will be solved. So this product will contain the ID that we have received from here after querying the database, and Spring Data will automatically understand that we are trying to update this product. And Spring Data MongoDB is smart enough to identify that we are update the product. And how it identifies this? Because our product has an ID that is already exist in the database. So Spring Data Mongo will automatically update this data. Okay, now let's restart the project. Before updating that data in the database, let's first try to delete that newly added product. This one, let's copy this ID and let's change the view to table view. And I'm going to delete this one. Okay, this iPhone 17 with $7.99 price. Let's copy the ID and back to the Postman. Open a new tab. It will be delete request. URL is localhost, then port 8080 API /products, then provide the ID and send the request. So in the response, we have this message, product deleted successfully. Now check the database, refresh this data, and our that product is deleted successfully. Now it's time to update this product, update this price of this iPhone 17. So let's copy this ID and back to the previous tab. For updating, it was put request and update the ID and update the price, that is $7.99, and send the request. So it seems it's updated. Let's check in the database, refresh the data, and yes, this time it's updated successfully. And if we try to get this data by ID, back to this previous get request, we are sending the request with ID to get the product by ID and update the ID of the product and send request. And here we have this updated price. And that's it. We have just built a fully functional Spring Boot application connected to MongoDB, complete with all the CRUD operations. If you found this walkthrough helpful and you want to keep building your skills step by step, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I post practical Spring Boot tutorials to help you grow from learning to confident building. See you next. Bye bye.